Hey friends, welcome to Your Daily Detroit. It is a sunny Tuesday where we're sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. Now, our schedule's a little messed up as we couldn't upload a new episode yesterday, so today we're running an interesting conversation with Cindy Pasky, the CEO and founder of Strategic Staffing Solutions, or S3. Now, she's a dynamic individual who over the last quarter century has been building her company from Detroit and serving the globe. It's a really great way to approach entrepreneurship. And, she may not send tons of press releases about the work they do, but that old English S has been part of making a lot of things in the city happen. And yes, full disclosure, I have some insight into it as I worked for her a few years ago. Now, after that conversation, I will send you out the door with a little programming note. I'll need a little bit of help from you all. This conversation is brought to you by Jerry Mangona, an Edward Jones financial advisor. Thank you for your membership and your support, and check them out. It's my pleasure to welcome to the table Cindy Pasky, the CEO and founder of Strategic Staffing Solutions. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. It's great to be at this table.
It's so good to see you. So I have to start with pretty much the most obvious question. How are your newest offices in the Fisher Building?
We love the Fisher Building. We absolutely value and appreciate Peter Cummings. We have 3 floors. The 21st floor also has the S3 art collection, and we have 3 rescue cats on 21 and 3 rescue cats on 20, and they do a really good job of fulfilling their roles every single day.
Are they perfect employees?
Perfect employees.
See, it's my show. I can do a pun if I want to do it.
That's right.
So let's get into some more serious topics. Whenever I see you, I know that you're somebody who doesn't show up somewhere unless you want to make a change, unless you want to do something. I mean, obviously, you're not somebody who's all serious all the time, but when you're putting your time into coming up here to Mackinac, hundreds of miles from downtown, this conference is crazy with the busyness and everything. What is it that you're looking to do here? Because you sit in a unique perspective, 30 plus years of working in workforce, staffing related industries. Why now?
Thank you. A couple of things. We have an opportunity. We have the former Lithuanian ambassador to the U.S., a current member of Lithuanian Parliament, Foreign Affairs Committee member, here with us. Dan Lupp from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan was gracious enough to co-host a fundraiser with us where the ambassador spoke to create awareness about Ukraine, support for Ukraine, and continue to drive the message that this should be front page above the fold. So that was one of the agendas. The second agenda is we have Matt Pepper and Jamie up here from Michigan Humane, and as you know, I'm the new board chair to continue to raise awareness and support the message and the work that we're doing with outreach into the communities and the support of the communities. And then, of course, third is you have to have a strong, financially successful company to support all of the other things that we're engaged in. And so it's to move S3's agenda forward as well.
Yeah, and that agenda, I think, ties into the idea of Michigan as leader. You've always proudly been from Detroit. And with that perspective, with that international perspective, what are some of the things that need to be focused on so that Michigan enhances its position and Detroit enhances its position?
Well, I think a couple of things. I mean, one, I think, and it's easy to say this, and actually it shouldn't be this difficult to do, we need our elected officials to be working together to the benefit of the state and to the benefit of our cities, not to the benefit of their parties. And we're not there yet. So that's the first thing, in my opinion, that needs to happen. The second thing is we need to recognize that a lot of our challenges with talent really are, the answers are right in front of us. If we change how we look for individuals to join teams, if we change how we provide training, skills, courses, recruitment, it's personal, it's hands-on, it's not automated, we will find that many of the openings that we have can be filled with individuals in Michigan that want to work. They need to have the skills and they need to have barriers removed, but they'll be incredibly loyal.
I've heard from listeners 1,000 times the horror stories of they go, they're applying for a job and then they get asked to apply for something that has nothing to do with what they're doing, but it's all based on the keyword search or something like that and not on that personal relationship on where can you fit within a team. So for you, is it something that more companies could take advantage of actually like leaning into who they're going to intentionally select to work with and hire?
How absurd is it that you would select someone to join your company, no matter how large you are, that you don't speak to?
Fair. Real fair.
And there was this big push to create efficiencies and cost effectiveness and have technology do that. Reality is the cost of a rehire is significantly more. The cost of an open position that's needed is significantly more. So if companies would move their buckets around that they put budgets in, they would recognize they would be better off staffing people to actually talk to people about coming to work for them.
And that means looking at different kinds of workforce, right? Like, I feel like if you're meeting people, some of the issues around, say, diversity, we talked about this at the conference tons of times, but anyone who's listening to this knows that there are issues when it comes to diversity hiring. You know, there are issues when it comes to bringing veterans back into the workforce. When you meet people, you're able to figure out who they actually are as opposed to just a resume, right?
That's right. And then you can figure out where they would be a fit, and you can figure out if you have the resources to remove the barriers to create an opportunity for them to engage in your company. So in S3, 65% of our leadership team are women. 48% of our leadership team identify as non-white. The mix of our team overall is actually 50-50, and 56% of our team are veterans.
Well, all of that makes a lot of sense considering like the real world is a lot closer to 50-50, right?
How about that? Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so how do you kind of jump over the idea that people tend to hire who they know? How do you look at it to expand that so you're not just hiring the same people that you would always hire, somebody that you met from school or something like that?
Well, we do a couple of things. In some instances, we want people to hire who they know. So we have an entire team of sourcers that are all veterans. We represent every branch of service multiple times, which means that we have a lot of veterans now on our team. So in that case, it's a case of we want to hire who we know, but it works for us in a very different way. And then the other thing is the ability to look at talent in a different way. We hire people that we feel will believe in S3, will value the opportunity, and will value the opportunity to support one of our customers. Once we get past that, then we look at where can we align skills to make it a fit. When you can look at people through that lens, you create a greater comfort level to not hire someone that you know.
When you talk about the skills to be a fit, that sometimes doesn't look like a traditional education.
Correct.
One of the things I've learned in my career over the years is that a lot of the things that I know to do are not tied to a program or a school or a training. I mean, there's some things, obviously, if you're going to be a doctor, you need to go through the medical school, whatever. But there are a lot of practical things where giving people the courage to say, I'm going to step out and learn this thing. I think that's another thing, too, is giving employees the courage to say, I've never done this before, but there's the tools and supports around me to do it, knowing that I'm not going to be perfect at the beginning. I'm not going to, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to get there.
Part of the way that I measure success of my job is every year when we're all together, I ask people to raise their hand if they came to S3 to do a job that they had not done before. And I need to see over 50% of the hands go up. Then the second question I ask, which is even more important, is now that you've been with us, raise your hand if you're doing a job that you didn't start with at S3. And I look to have 70% of the people in the room raise their hand.
Doesn't that also impact the labor shortage and the talent gap? Because one of the things is, yeah, sure, we've got a labor shortage, but I also keep hearing, well, I don't have the right person or whatever. It sounds like there's a way to make that person.
There is. And what I remind the leadership team of all the time is if you wait until someone's ready, you're too late. You know they have the ability to do it. You know they have the potential to do it. So to your point, help them get to the place where they should do it. Make that right person, but don't wait until everything's in line. One, you've waited too long. Two, the competition will take them.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially in certain areas, I mean, it is in some ways a very strong employees kind of market. And so from a hiring perspective for companies, how do you deal with that? Are you telling companies, hey, you got to pony up, or what are your views on that?
I think what you have to do is you have to, and this applies to S3 and everything that we do, customers, consultants, and community. Everyone says, oh, we listen. We all listen. We've improved how we listen. We don't interrupt, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people never hear while they're listening. When you hear what's really important to individuals and what they're really looking for, that's when you can line up the things to increase your retention, to increase the number of referrals, and to fill your openings. And what you will find is there's a variety of things. It's not just comp, it's not just work from home. If it's someone in the technology field, it's the quality of the assignment that they're going to have, their ability to be creative, the peer group that they're going to be with. Some people are particularly interested in certain industries. Comp is important, but most everybody's going to make the same type of comp offer with the same type of benefits. So your tipping point is the quality of the assignment. Is there a culture in the company that you're involved in? Can they see forward mobility? Are they going to feel like they're valued? Are they going to be a part of the team? And are you going to make it easy for them to start, right? If they're not working in an office, are you going to hand deliver their equipment, not send them to go get it, not FedEx it? Is it going to be loaded up? Is it going to be easy? When they pull it up, is there going to be a welcome note, right?
I'm laughing because my roommate works for a tech company, and they went back and forth 3 times with their laptop over FedEx, and he's sitting there getting paid, of course.
Right.
But for 3-4 days, like, what do I do? Like, this doesn't feel good. Like, what am I doing here?
It doesn't feel good. And even though he's up and engaged, they created a window of opportunity where someone like S3 is going to find him, call him. It's actually going to be a human. And there's going to be that little bit of window. He'll be like, well, let me hear what you have to say.
So how can companies do this and scale? Because I think about those companies are hiring all these people. There's going to be another wave of hiring. It always works that way. Like, it comes and goes. How do those companies scale that? Because I think that's the pushback that I have heard when I've been out talking to people. Like, well, I need to do this automated thing, because otherwise, how am I going to fill all these roles that I need to fill? But then I see so much time getting wasted on the other side because, I have friends across the board working at the top and working at the bottom in places going, well, I've been here for whatever, and I'm still not really being used. They're using me 3 hours a day and paying me for 8. And again, what am I doing here?
Well, it goes back to that earlier discussion. It's looking at bringing talent into the organization and actually taking the time to really understand what the costs are involved with that. So in one instance, they'll say it takes too much time and we don't want to have all of this overhead to do that. But if they actually really look at what their cost per hire is, using technology, not staffing appropriately, what we believe in the business case we build for our customers is if you make that shift and you bring in individuals, humans that talk, that interact, that text, that reach out, you will actually, at the end of the day, lower your cost of hire. So it's still a good financial business decision, but it requires, when you look at where all of those buckets are, that you be honest about it. So if you look at the recruiting world, it's like you're going to pay for DICE, you're going to pay for a LinkedIn membership, you're going to pay to go do a military job fair. So there's all these costs. What we find in very large corporations is they're not all actually allocated to the cost of hire. So there's a lower cost of hire than people realize, and it supports the justification of using technology, not people.
Well, and when you use that technology, you also don't do something that I've seen your numbers be excellent on, which is diversity in hiring, right? Because technology tends to favor to that already checked box. And so what is it that's been kind of the sauce for you to help with that diversity, not only with your company, but also with the companies you serve? Because I think that's a real crucial conversation to have, not just in the city of Detroit, but in a region that's 40% people of color.
Well, thank you for that. And you're right. And I think part of the secret sauce is that, to your earlier comment, it may not be someone that they know, but it's someone that had their same experience. So when we're recruiting, if the sourcer and the recruiter have had a similar background and come from similar places, the ability to have them be interested in us is immediately increased, right? More importantly, the ability for the candidate to recognize we're sincere is spot on. And once you cross that line, they'll be like, I'll take a chance on us 3. I'm going to do this. I believe I can learn this. I believe they're really going to give me a good opportunity.
So before I let you go, you've been successful in business for a number of years. You've learned a lot of lessons. What's something that if someone's listening to this, what's something that they can take away that you would share with them on, like, how to do the thing? How to build the thing?
How to build the thing. I think the one thing is to separate passion from emotion. It's important to be passionate and believe in what you're doing. When you let emotions cross that line, you make bad business decisions because it's still a business. The thing you're building is a business, and when it's successful, it gives you the resources you need to do all of those other things. But if it's not successful, you're not building it.
Very fair. Great points. Cindy Pasky, Strategic Staffing Solutions, thank you so much. So good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for listening to that conversation. Now, that programming note. Fletcher Sharp, who does our DCFC coverage. You might notice Tuesdays we normally do an episode on that. Well, he is going to be out for personal reasons into sometime in August. That doesn't mean that we are going to stop the coverage of LaRouge. I know all about the signing of Cy Goddard, and there's a lot more to talk about. So to join us soon will be John Morrissey from USL Tactics. He's one of the brightest minds in the entire league to talk about not just the signing, but where DCFC stands in relation to the league and some things maybe we need to know about the USL Championship, and preview a match against the Tampa Bay Rowdies, which is a team that he actually used to work for. So I couldn't think of anybody better to talk to. If you've got suggestions on who you think we should talk to, players, anything like that, voices for our DCFC segments, email me, Jer, at dailydetroit.com. I'm all ears. We're always looking to grow. All right, with that, I'm Jer Stays. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.